how much is, you know, people talk about that with poker, for example. How much is the value of this? You know, so like some people argue that poker is more about the betting. You know, it's just the money. It's just how much you bet and so on. So that would be more like the analogy there with fighting would be just strictly the physical movement of your body. And then a lot of people argue that there's a lot here in the way you look, in the little movements in the face. So do you think you're communicating with your opponent when you look at them?
There's no way to know for sure 100%, and I'm by no means psychic, nothing like that, and I don't believe in that at all. The only thing is I know through looking through the eyes of my opponent when he's afraid and when he gives up on me.
Yeah.
I've been accused very often in my career to not take enough risk, to not finish my opponent. But the reason why I didn't finish my opponent is because I saw in his eyes that he gave up. He gave me the fight, and I'm winning the fight. So it's not up to me. It's not to me to make it, to try to sacrifice myself trying to finish him. Perhaps if I do that, I will open up for him to capitalize on my mistake. It's up to him to make a risk. So people sometimes they don't understand that it's the art of fighting, my friend. You know, like if I'm winning the fight, like in hockey and ice hockey, if you're winning the game and it's the third period, it's at the end of the third period, you're not going to take out your goaltender trying to score another goal because winning 5-3 or 5-4 is the same thing. Same thing in MMA. We make a living out of this. And sometimes it's, you know, as bad as it can be, you want to save yourself for another day. You know, you want to minimize the damage. But if he knows he's losing the fight, it's up to him to take the risk. It's not up to me. So I'm a good counter fighter. I use a lot of my attack or counter strike or reactive takedown or proactive takedown. That's my specialty. So I'm not gonna. I have no desire to sacrifice myself trying to finish my opponent if he want to. If perhaps I might give him the opportunity to capitalize on me. It's not smart to do that. And very often when I fight someone, I can read him. I see the fear in his eyes. Now I'm like, I got you now. He's very desperate. Doesn't mean I have to put my guard down because he's gonna be desperate. But I know I'm beating you. And I know I'm beating you. I'm just gonna do what I need. You know, if I have a chance, of course I'll knock him out. But I'm not gonna try to sacrifice myself to knock you out. And if you do that, maybe one day you'll make a mistake and you'll get dropped and you'll tell yourself, like, shoot, I just got brain damage. Maybe I'm never gonna come back the same. Maybe, you know, I ruined my career, or you know, it's a very serious game that we're playing. It's very dangerous.
In the face of that risk, I mean, Mike Tyson talked about, you know, when the opponent looks away, he knows he's got him, right? That he's broken. For a person like me who has trouble making eye contact with people, there's truth to that. I mean, there's truth to that. That there's an animal nature to us looking away. I mean, you could see that the way the body language, the way the eyes move between two animals going at it in the wild when like two lions fight or two whatever fight. There's a certain beta move when you've been defeated.
Yes, or one thing when I know when it happened, one of the sign is when I just like make a feint and the guy flinch like crazy. That's mean he's really scared of me. It's a little bit like you're doing this, that guy flinch a little bit, or you're doing this, he's flinch like, oh, that's mean you hurt him and he doesn't want to get hurt again. So he's really trying to run away and not winning the fight anymore, but not losing. So sort of surviving the 5 round. And it's hard to finish a guy who doesn't want to fight. A guy who's not fighting anymore to win and is fighting to not lose. And the proof of that, if you don't believe me, just look the reign of all the greatest champion in UFC. I don't care who they are, John Jones or like you could clearly see that in the beginning of their reign, they could, you know, finish a lot of their opponents. The same as me. In the beginning, I was finishing a lot of my opponents. But there's a time that the entire UFC roster is studying you. And they found ways to perhaps not beating you, but they found a way to navigate through the fight in a way that they minimize the damage. You know what I mean? So it's a big difference between fighting to win and fighting to not lose.